video is brought to you by Against the Flow of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is a book about Jake Fayard, a Marine veteran who is unhappy with the political machine running the state of Mississippi. He decides to fight the corruption from the inside. Jake will face more challenges than he ever has and will stand up for what he thinks is right. His notoriously hot temper will push him to the edge of murder, along with his friend and brother Kobe Barhanovich. Together, they will fight the system and give the power back to the citizens of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi was written by Anthony Oksenholt and was published by Oksenholt Biloxi Publishing, LLC. A link to the book will be placed in the description below.
Yeah, this a revolution in our time. Everybody's fighting, change coming, yes. That's why it's an acronym for riot. Everybody has a voice. Don't you dare stay silent. If you say nothing, you are an accessory to violence.
They've had their say. Seems like they've had that kind of say around here for too long. Look, I had to stand up for myself alone. I went in there to remind them that somewhere in this world there's still a little order left. To let them know in the only kind of terms that their kind understand is that they can't bribe or threaten their way out of what they did. To let them do this to me and get away with it, and you give them the eternal right to do the same damn thing to any one of you.
Access 228, your host, Anthony Oksenholt. Well, we report the facts and we are not for sale. If you have a news story or something that's on your mind, please feel free to give us a call at 228-337-2099. Be glad to have you on. Thank you for listening. And we do appreciate all that you do to support us and keep free and independent journalism doing what we do best. All right, y'all. Good morning. Anthony Oksenholt, Access 228. And, wake up, do my usual morning routine. I'm sure we all have this problem, or this routine, at least some variant of it. Wake up, get out of bed, take a leak, get something to drink, light a cigarette, and then go and check Facebook. Well, that's just about my routine. While I'm checking Facebook, I run across an article by my good friend Jerry Mitchell, formerly of the Clarion Ledger. By the way, if y'all want a good read, go check out his book, Race Against Time. Excellent book. Jerry is a national treasure and a personal hero of mine. I will tell y'all that right now. For many reasons. But anyway, I find his article on Mississippi Today, and it kind of goes along the lines of everything Access 228 is about, and then something personal for me. So here I am, just waking up. It's about 3 a.m. I read the article. Jerry, you know I love you, buddy. But I didn't think anybody could piss me off as quick as your article did at 3 in the morning. 15 minutes after I roll out of bed. But this pisses me off in a lot of ways. Gary didn't piss me off, his article did. And honestly, I don't know how I missed it, but I'm going to read the whole article and then I'm going to give my thoughts on it. Did Rankin County Sheriff have role in son-in-law's dismissed DUI charge? I need to do a little bit more research on this. But I'm gonna read. Let's read the article. The Mississippi Highway Patrol suspended a state trooper who failed to obey a subpoena to testify in a DUI case involving the current son-in-law of Rankin County Sheriff Brian Bailey, Mississippi Today has learned. The son-in-law, Stephen Frederick Jr., and another law enforcement officer are now charged with manslaughter in an unrelated case in 2022 while both were Capitol Police officers. On March 12, 2023, Frederick totaled his Capitol Police Ford F-150 on US 49 South in Covington County, just past the Simpson County line. I'm guessing that'd be around Mount Olive. When the trooper arrived, he told Frederick, dashcam video obtained by Mississippi Today, he wanted to give the Capitol Police officer a handheld breathalyzer test to see how high you are. Frederick flunked the test with a .15 score, nearly twice the legal limit of .08. He was handcuffed and arrested for DUI. Frederick can be seen on camera asking troopers to remove the handcuffs, and they refuse. Good. Lock his ass up. On the video, Frederick is quoted as saying he had only 2 beers, but later can be heard telling trooper that he'd been drinking whiskey, and then he adds, I just lost my fucking career. Fellow troopers say Clay Lofton told them that Bailey appeared on the scene and asked if he could take Frederick with him. They said that Lofton told him that he replied to the sheriff, no, he's coming with me. Bailey told WLBT in 2023 that he spoke to Lofton a handful of times and he told the trooper to do his job. If Bailey had taken Frederick with him, prosecution would have proved difficult because results from a handheld breathalyzer test aren't admissible in court. That's true. This is why DUI suspects are tested on breathalyzer machines. At the Covington County Jail, Lofton put Frederick on a machine breathalyzer, which tested him at .127, according to the arrest report. I wonder if Covington County's intoxilizer was as old as the one at Stone County that we had, the jail. After Frederick was jailed, Covington County Sheriff Darrell M. Perkins released him without bond into Bailey's custody. He said Bailey told him he was taking Frederick to a hospital. State authorities had learned that a prosecutor who wasn't from Covington County said Bailey called him and asked him what would happen if a trooper didn't show up for a DUI hearing, and the prosecutor replied the case would be dismissed. This keeps getting better and better. Bailey has denied these allegations. Whoever said that I talked to a prosecutor is a liar, he told WLBT. This is a completely false lie. Authorities have also learned that after the wreck, Bailey reportedly telephoned Frederick's supervisor at Capitol Police. I'm going to butcher this name. Porfino Grimaldo, telling the supervisor that he should keep Frederick on the force because the DUI has been taken care of. Contacted with comment, Grimaldo referred all questions to the department's lawyers. Our MDPS legal team is unable to comment on a conversation they were not a party to, said spokesman Bailey Martin. Neither Bailey's lawyer, Jason Dare, nor Bailey responded to questions about this. 5 months after the incident, Lofton failed to show up as required to testify in the DUI case against Frederick. A Covington County judge dismissed the case. This really pisses me off. Lofton was one of 4 troopers scheduled to testify that day in Justice Court. He was the only one that didn't appear. Afterward, fellow troopers said Lofton told them he had never received a notice of the hearing, and if he had, he would have been there. Electronic records, however, show he received the email and opened it. I guess people forgot about red reports in an email, huh? When troopers start their jobs, they agree in advance to take a polygraph test, commonly known as a lie detector test. If they refuse the test, they can be fired. After Lofkin took his polygraph test, the examiner concluded the trooper showed deception when he denied that anyone pressured him to ignore the subpoena and testify in court. The trooper received a 5-day suspension with no pay and did not appeal, according to records obtained by the Mississippi Today. He declined to respond to the request for comment. As for Frederick, he resigned 3 days after the wreck to prevent termination. Great tactic. According to his certification records, he had worked for Capitol Police less than 8 months and paid nothing toward the F-150 he totaled. Bailey said that he never tried to influence justice. I can swear on a stack of Bibles I did not ask anyone for help on that just because I knew the finger would be pointed at me. Because of that, and let things take their course naturally, the sheriff said in a 2023 WLBT interview. I hate that it happened to him because he's a good guy. Oh, wow, and we have another one. Another wreck, no charges. A year and a half after Frederick demolished his Capitol Police truck, he wrecked another patrol vehicle, this time as a deputy for Scott County. Boy, I bet that was a pay cut. Tina Hutchinson said Frederick was driving north on Highway 13 in Smith County when he hit her son's truck so hard it turned his truck completely around. Frederick's car careened up the driveway. Both her son's truck and Frederick's patrol car were totaled, she said. The speed limit along that stretch in Polkville is at 35 miles an hour. Frederick admitted doing 55. Hutchinson said she believes it was even faster because of the damage done, the place the patrol car stopped, and the lack of skid marks. Wow. Certification records show Frederick had 3 previous speeding tickets, one of them resulting in a suspended driver's license, which he attributed to a misunderstanding with the court. Boy, this guy's a clusterfuck, ain't he? After this incident, Frederick was sitting on the ground saying he was hurt. Hutchinson said, if your leg's hurting so bad, wouldn't you wait for an ambulance? Instead, Sheriff Bailey appeared on the scene and took Frederick to the hospital before troopers ever arrived. She said his daddy-in-law comes and picks him up. Neither Bailey's lawyer nor Bailey responded to questions about this. Frederick wasn't charged with speeding or anything else, Hutchinson said. Why leave the scene of an accident and not wait for the highway patrol? Officers, however, told her son that he couldn't leave until he spoke with troopers who had yet to arrive. His son suffered no injuries from the wreck, and she said, I don't know how it didn't hurt him worse. Children sometimes play not far from the road where Frederick totaled his patrol car. She said, what if he had slid and hit a kid? Jesus Christ, this guy just keeps getting better and better. Manslaughter charge. Earlier this year, Frederick and Michael Lamar Reinwald pleaded not guilty to manslaughter in the September 25th, 2022 death of 25-year-old Jalen Lewis in Jackson. Both were officers while working for Capitol Police at the time. An investigation by Mississippi Today has uncovered that Colonel Stephen Maxwell, then director of the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics, rejected hiring both officers, but Capitol Police, also part of the Department of Public Safety, hired him. The officers reportedly told investigators that Reinwald shot Lewis in self-defense after Lewis drove his car toward them. A witness statement appears to back up their version of events. According to the indictment, Frederick and Reinwald said the killing was necessary to protect from great bodily harm or death at the hands of Lewis. but the indictment concluded that was not a reasonable belief under the circumstance. Lewis' mother, Arkella, questioned why officers, instead of being indicted for murder with charge of manslaughter, defined under Mississippi law as killing another person without malice. That's crazy, she says. Frederick was released on a $10,000 cash bond. Wow. $10,000 cash bond. Okay. On April 28, 2 weeks before he married Bailey's daughter, Alexis. Frederick is set for trial September 15th, and Ryan Walt's trial is set for December 8th. I guess they got the motion for severance. After his indictment, the Scott County Sheriff's Department put Frederick on administrative leave without pay. In an April 21 letter, Scott County Sheriff Mike Lee wrote that he didn't know if Frederick would be retained. Jesus Christ. The same month, the Department of Public Safety released Ryan Walt. He's also been indicted along with former Capitol Police Officer Jeffrey Allen Walker Jr. in the August 14th, 2022 shooting of Sinatra Rakeem Jordan and Sharita Lynn Harris 6 weeks before the Lewis killing. Damn. This indictment accuses officers of manifesting extreme indifference to the value of human life in the shootings. Both officers have pleaded not guilty to the aggravated assault charges. In the wake of these shootings, the department requested funding to purchase body cameras and now requires all Capitol Police officers on patrol to wear them. In addition, the department created an internal affairs division that covers the entire agency and reports to the commissioner, who works with lawmakers to give the Board of Law Enforcement Officer Standards and Training the power to investigate complaints against law enforcement officers. Public Safety Commissioner Sean Tyndall said Internal Affairs now conducts uniform background checks for all of the agency's new law enforcement hires. Sean, I'm sorry, brother, but you need to investigate some of your current ones too. In addition, he said the department will hold its first agency-wide cadet class in February to help ensure that all of its officers are receiving the same training and understand the agency's policies before beginning their career with the department. Brother, thank God you're listening to me. In the past, the department and the divisions it oversees have operated out of multiple headquarters. In 2026, the department plans to move into the new 146,000 square foot headquarters in Rankin County, where all divisions will be under one roof. Tyndall said that consolidating all personnel into a single place will not only improve the day-to-day communication and collaboration across divisions, but will also enhance critical communication during emergencies and improve overall safety for all of Mississippi. All right. That is a hell of a lot to unpack here. First off, good job, Sean Tyndall. Brother, you doing a damn good job. $100%. Second, before we start talking about manslaughter, let's get the DUI out of the way first. Those of y'all who do not know, my brother was killed October 21st, 1995 on Irish Hill Drive in Biloxi by a DUI driver. I will gladly post a picture of the results of that. It took 2 months to catch the son of a bitch. guy by the name of Douglas Taylor Berry Jr. And he was not charged with DUI, but they did charge him with leaving the scene of an accident. So yet, let's get a little bit more personal here on what this guy's doing. Leaving the scene of an accident where there is injury or death is a felony in Mississippi. Again, the picture I'm going to post, and I'll probably put it in this video. You probably see it by now. Is Kirk Fordyce in 1996 signing it with me and my whole family standing right there as he does. Because we pushed for it. We pushed for it. Now, fast forward to 2016, and again, this is where DUI has touched my life personally yet another time. I lost another good friend of mine, Mike Salisbury, on Tucker Road in Jackson County. Ironically, he was the same age as my brother, both of them 26 years old. Way too young to die. Guy was the guy that hit him was already on a felony bond out of Harrison County for possession of dope. And that stupid fucking district attorney over in Jackson and George County, Angel Myers, I wish somebody fucking unseat her. And Judge Krebs, thank God your dumb ass is gone. Piss on the both of you. Gave the son of a bitch that killed him 5 years house arrest and 5 years suspended. Meanwhile, yeah. I have been pushing, and I've spoken to Sean Tyndall when he was a state senator about this, the current director of the Mississippi Highway Patrol. Great friend of mine, by the way, and again, you're doing a good job, about pushing to make DUI first a felony in Mississippi, as it should. I'm sorry. Tell y'all the way I feel about DUI. If I take my 9mm and I go on the beach during the 4th of July celebration, I point my weapon to the air and I discharge 16 rounds in the air, I got a pretty good chance of killing somebody. What does a 9mm projectile weigh? About 115 grains. You want to know what my pickup truck weighs? About 3,800 pounds. You know how much control I have over my truck? About as much control as I have over them rounds. So you got a 115 grain missile or a 4,000 pound missile. You can still kill somebody. It ought to be a felony. If you are so goddamn selfish that you're going to be drunk, and I don't care if you're a cop or if you're a civilian, and For y'all regular drivers, DUI in just about everywhere is .08. For me, it's .04, but I hold a commercial driver's license. It's lower for me because we're supposed to know better. Personally, I think it ought to be .02 for everybody. Should be DUI. If you have a beer, don't fucking drive, okay? Alcohol affects different people different ways. I know functioning alcoholics that can get out here and get in their fucking car and be pissed drunk and drive straight. I know people that one beer probably, you know, make them dangerous as hell. How about we just don't fucking drink and drive, people? And how about the state legislature make DUI first a felony to stop this shit? That's my spiel on DUI. I'm gonna drop that for the moment, and I'm going to be talking about this guy who is a police or who was a police officer. You raised your hand, swore an oath, was handed a badge, a gun, a uniform. You're supposed to fucking know better. You're supposed to know better. You know what drunk driving can do. How this guy has not had his certification yanked, you know, I don't get it. I have a proposal for this. I know we have the MBI. I know we have Post, or what is it called here in Mississippi? Um, Board of Law Enforcement Officer Standards and Training. I know in Florida we had CJSTC, the Commission on Law Enforcement, Commission on Standards, or the Commission of Standards and Trainings. FDA, which fell directly under FDLE. I'm glad Sean Tyndall's putting it all under one building, which it needs to be under one house. Corrections falls under that in Florida. It needs to fall under that in Mississippi too, by the way. Just throwing that out there. Um, these bad actors in uniform need to be fired, stripped of their certification, and never allowed to work law enforcement again. Matter of fact, here's one for you. Anybody in the legislature who dares to watch my videos, you need to enact a law that enhances the penalty for law enforcement officers who violate the law. Law enforcement officers should set the standard. Law enforcement should be held to a higher standard than your average civilian. So when they do something stupid, they violate the law in uniform, they need some extra penalties. Now, let's talk about Rankin County. It's a lot to unpack when you start talking about the Rankin County Sheriff's Department. You got the sheriff covering for his son-in-law. You got the goon squad up there. Um, you got people killing people at the jail. You got them not. You got them not responding properly to public information requests. getting sued in Chancery Court over it. Why is this allowed to go on? Why is Rankin County Sheriff's Department in the news so much? Well, they're in the news so much because they're doing a lot of dumb shit up there. Jerry Mitchell's doing a damn good job calling them out for it. So now what we have here is the perfect storm. We've got Rankin County Sheriff's Office, which is doing some really bad shit, a lot of bad shit. We got a sheriff up there that's rogue. We have a son-in-law who was a Capitol police officer who's getting in wrecks, putting people's lives at risk, hauling ass down 49, wrecking in Mount Olive, wrecking state vehicles. Hey, guess what? You know who paid for that vehicle? We did. And the sheriff bailing them out. Highway patrol officers not showing up to court after he read the email, letting his buddies off. This is corruption. Why are we allowing this? If I get charged with a crime and I don't show up to court, I could be found guilty, depending on what the crime is, in my absence, especially if it's municipal justice court charge, like a DUI or speeding or anything else. If I don't pay the fine or whatever, they can suspend my license, issue a warrant for my arrest, charge me with contempt of court. Why aren't police officers charged with contempt of court for not showing up to court? You want this shit to stop? If you're a justice court or municipal court judge, I tell you what, put me as a judge. I'm gonna tell you right now. Um, Cop don't show up to court, I'm charging him with contempt. It's that simple. That officer will be brought back into court in handcuffs. It's that simple. Will I be very popular with law enforcement? No, but I don't give a shit. Right is right and wrong is wrong. You want this shit to stop? That's how you make it stop. It ain't rocket science, people. It's called accountability. Body cams. 2022. Why? First off, every cop on the street needs to have a body cam. Every cop. If you are a cop and you deal with a civilian, if anything to cover your ass, you need that frenemy. And that's what a body camera is. It's a frenemy. Cameras are not your friend, they're not your enemy. They could be either or. If you're sitting there and you're dealing with a civilian, and the civilian is doing something they ain't got no business doing, and you have to go and do some work and use force, that camera might save your ass and will save the state money. Conversely, if you go in there and you're doing something that you ain't got no business doing, that camera's gonna say, "Hey, look at what I saw." Personally, I feel that in addition to body cameras, there needs to be a head camera too. Just the way I feel. Put a little camera right here, right about my Ford emblem is on my hat. That's what needs to happen. So, while I was editing this video, I had another thought I want to add in here. Um, Two thoughts actually. One is I hadn't said anything about the manslaughter. I'm going to get into that in just a second. But before I get into that, let's talk about these cameras for a minute. Let's talk about technology in body cams right now. Um, as I was saying, the head camera is a great idea in my opinion. Body cam, head cam. You got dash cam on the patrol car. Personally, I think you need front and rear dash cam and a camera facing the cage inside. Hot mic'd, by the way. Some agencies do this. I don't know about who does it in Mississippi and who doesn't do it. But let's talk about this technology for a minute. And I have used this. Um, the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections mandates that all COs wear body cams. Um, there are holsters, taser holsters, OC holsters, and firearm holsters that are connected Bluetooth. So if you pull a weapon, taser, OC spray, or firearm, it'll activate your camera. Even better than that, though, Axon. I love Axon body cameras. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I learned so much about Axon body cameras when I was working for the state of Ohio that, I mean, they're great. I love them. Did you know that an Axon body camera, and this is something for y'all that are going after public records requests, y'all need to understand this too. So if they ever try to bullshit you, let me tell you something. The new Axon body cameras can record passively they can record for like 18 hours. So if you have a 16-hour shift, a lot of cops work Panama schedule, that's 12-hour shifts. They may have to work overtime. That's a 16-hour shift. The Axon body cameras, the new one, will passively record for 18 hours. Now, for those of y'all that don't know how an Axon body camera works, you're going to go in there. You're going to go and get issued your camera. This is how we did it for ODRC. They will pick a camera up off a cradle. It's got a number. It's the camera corresponds with the number on the cradle. And what's going on is they will document, usually in software, what officer was issued that camera. This needs to happen at roll call. This, what I'm saying, by the way, needs to be codified in state law for accountability. All right, so the officer puts his Axon body camera on. And again, need a head camera too. I like the idea of multiple angles. because there's just some things that you can't catch with a body camera right here, especially if you're going hands on with somebody in a use of force. You're body to body with somebody, your body cam's not going to pick anything up. You're grappling with somebody on the ground, it may or may not pick it up. Just throwing that out there. But anyway, I digress. So with these new Axon body cameras, um, it's passively recording throughout the shift. When you activate your camera, to activate your camera, you have a button in the center of your camera. And all you got to do, hit it twice. Just tap, tap. Now it's flashing, goes from flashing green to red. If it's flashing green, it's passively recording. If it's flashing red, it's actively recording. Well, what that does is the only difference between the two is it just notates that there's an event. So it flags it whenever something, whenever you put the camera back on the cradle and it uploads it to the server or to the cloud or whatever, it'll notate an event. Hey, at this time, something happened, officer activated the camera. Even without activating the camera, it's still passively recording. When I got assaulted when I was working for the state of Ohio by that convict, you can check out my other channel, Beyond Account Life on the Compound, for that one. When I got assaulted, I did not activate my body camera. I didn't have time. The assault happened, and there was just no way to do it because I was dealing with that, and I wasn't, honestly, I wasn't thinking about activating the body camera. But because it was passively recording, they were able to catch the footage. So basically, what I'm saying to you is, if you have one or all of your holstered devices Bluetooth connected to the camera, officer draws their weapon, they draw their taser, they pull their OC spray, it's going to show that, hey, there's an event. It's going to automatically switch the camera from green to red. Also, here's the other thing of what it can do, because technology is so damn great. All right? I don't know about the dash cams. I'm assuming that they passively record as well, and upload to their own server. But if you pull one of your tools on your belt, impact weapons can also be hooked to this, such as an ASP or a PR-24. Personally, I like a PR-24 better. Just my opinion. You pull one of these weapons, one of these tools, it activates it. It should activate the body camera, the dash camera, the head camera if they ever go to that. I hope they do. Hope somebody comes up with it. And if there's any officers within a certain proximity, they as well will have theirs activated. You know what else a body cam will do? Y'all want to talk about officer safety? Hey, guess what? I'm real big on officer safety. You know, if it picks up that you fall hard, it'll activate an event. Oh yeah, they've gotten pretty advanced with these body cams. You talk about, oh well, we just don't feel like our officers ought to have it. Hey, that's officer safety, buddy. Just throwing that out there to y'all. If it works in corrections, it'll work twice as good on the street, I promise you. Admittedly, the body cams really annoyed me when I had them in the prison, but you get used to them. After a couple of weeks of dealing with it, hey, I actually did not mind the body cams. True story. I've worked with them and I've worked without them. Most of my career without. Now, I did not talk about this manslaughter. And I want to tell you why I didn't talk about the manslaughter. Because it wasn't on my mind when I started this video. I'll admit that I probably got more pissed off over the corruption and the DUI than I did the manslaughter. So, again, this is the edited video. This is as I'm editing the video and putting stuff in about an hour after I recorded it. Now I'm thinking, hey, let's go ahead and talk about this for a minute. But those of y'all that know and seen my video on use of force, I describe myself as a violence professional. That means that I know how to use violence in a professional standard. You have to. It's not saying that I want to use violence. It's just saying that I simply know how to. I also know how stuff works. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, for a prosecutor in the state of Mississippi to get an indictment and to go as far as trial with a police officer over a use of force, there's something there. I'm going to investigate this. I don't know anything about what happened, but I want to know now, because I want to know what was so serious about this use of force that in the state of Mississippi, the prosecutor has decided to prosecute the officers on manslaughter charges. I also want to know why they chose manslaughter, because manslaughter is nothing but murder without the element of intent. You know, if I throw a baseball and I hit somebody in the head and I kill them, that's murder without the intent. I didn't intend to kill somebody. They're still dead. But I want to know how a use of force turns into manslaughter. That's what I want to know. Assuming it was a use of, well, actually, no, it was a use of force. I really want to know. So I'm going to investigate that further. Anyway, throwing that out there. Access 228, Anthony Oksenholt. Y'all have a good day. Let's hold our law enforcement to a higher standard. Let's make DUI first a felony. Not a non-adjudicated felony. I want it to be a felony. I want a 100% deterrent. I don't care who you are. Just my opinion. Y'all have a good one. By the way, Jerry, keep up the good work. Sean Tyndall, you as well. Keep up the good work. Y'all are both assets to the state of Mississippi, and I personally thank both of you. Y'all have a good one. Access 228, Anthony Oksenholt.